the second chapter in history, which is New Kings and Kingdoms. In the last class, we have already seen about the Rashtrakutas, the Gurjara Pradikaras and the Palas. Synopsis of the lesson. In this session, we are going to see the following topics. The first one is the tripartite struggle, Gurjara Pradikaras, Rashtrakutas and Palas, the Rajputs, the Chauhans, the battles of Tarain, Sultan Muhammad of Ghazni, administration of the kingdoms. Finally, we are going to see revenue and revenue collection. First, we are going to learn about the tripartite struggle, Gurjara Pradikaras, Rashtrakutas and Palas, the three dynasties of the early medieval period. The Gurjara Pradikaras, Rashtrakutas and Palas fought with each other to acquire control over Kannauj. Kannauj was considered a hub of power on the fertile plains of the northern India. So, the Gurjara Pradikaras, Rashtrakutas and Palas were the three dynasties of the early medieval period. They fought with each other to acquire control over Kannauj. Kannauj was considered a hub of power. Here, hub means center or focus. So, Kannauj was considered a focus of power on the fertile plains of the northern India. Here, fertile means soil or land producing or capable of producing abundant, which means large or great vegetation or crops. So, Kannauj was considered a hub of power on the fertile plains of the northern India. It was an important center and trade and agriculture flourished in this area. Thus, it was a matter of prestige to be ruling Kannauj. The three dynasties kept fighting with each other to gain this prestigious area. As there were three dynasties fighting amongst each other, it got the name of tripartite struggle. Here, flourish means grow or develop in a healthy way. Prestige means respect or status. Prestigious means respected or important. Dynasties means a sequence of rulers from the same family. So, it was an important center and trade and agriculture flourished. So, flourished means developed in a healthy way in this area. Thus, it was a matter of prestige. So, here prestige means respect or status. So, it was a matter of prestige to be ruling Kannauj. So, the three dynasties kept fighting with each other to gain this prestigious area, which means respected or important area, as there were three dynasties fighting amongst each other. So, it got the name of tripartite struggle. Since their armies were near equal in capabilities, there were no definite victors. Here, victors means winners. So, since their armies were equal in capabilities, there were no definite winners. However, the constant battles kept weakening them over a period of time. They did not realize this, and eventually rulers from other dynasties captured the territories. Here, territories means areas of all three and these dynasties perished, which means fallen simultaneously, which means at the same time. Finally, the real power passed into the hands of the Chandalas, the Chauhans, the Paramars, and other dynasties, all of whom are considered to be Rajputs. The Rajputs were considered as the sons of rulers. They were known to be of two descents, the sun and the moon gods, the Surya Vanshi and the Chandra Vanshi respectively. Here, descent means the origin or background of a person in terms of family or nationalities. In other words, ancestors. So, Rajputs were known to be of two descents, the sun and the moon gods, that is, the Surya Vanshi and the Chandra Vanshi respectively. In the northern part of India, Rajputs played a very important role between the 9th and 12th century CE. They established many independent states. There was no central controlling authority which could bring them together into a single unit or empire, which means kingdom. Some of the prominent, here prominent means important Rajput kingdoms were the Chauhans of Ajmer and Delhi, Paramars of Malwa region, Chihadawalas or Raturs of Kannauj, and Shishodiyas of Mewar. Next, we are going to learn about the Chauhans. The Chauhans is earlier known as the Chahamanas, were the feudal lords. Here, feudal lords means a lord in a feudal system. During the rule of the Pratiharas, they established their kingdom first in Ajmer in the 11th century and later acquired control over Delhi from the Tumars and shifted their capital to Delhi. Next, we are going to learn about Prithviraj Chauhan. Prithviraj Chauhan was the most famous ruler of this dynasty. We get to know about him from an epic poem, Prithviraj Raso, written by his court poet Chand Bardai. He fought two battles at Tarain, now in Haryana, with Muhammad Ghori. Next, we are going to learn about the battles of Tarain. The first battle at Tarain took place in 1191. Prithviraj united some Rajput kings to face Muhammad Ghori. Here we can see the picture of Prithviraj Chauhan and Muhammad Ghori. Unfortunately, Jaichand, the ruler of Kannauj, did not join this confederation. In the battle, Ghori was wounded and defeated, which caused his army to flee. Here, confederation means league, association or union. Flee means run away. So, unfortunately, Jaichand, he was the ruler of Kannauj. He did not join this association. So, in the battle, Ghori was wounded and defeated, which caused his army to flee, which means to run away. Let's see some keywords. Cavalry, army, confederation, slain. Cavalry means in the past soldiers who fought on horseback. Army means armed forces or soldiers. Confederation means league, association or union. Slain means kill a person in a violent way or murder. The Second Battle of Terrain was fought in 1192. Muhammad Ghori attacked the kingdom of Prithviraj Chauhan, again with the motive of revenge and to establish control over India. This time he had organized a better cavalry and army. So what is meant by cavalry? In the past, soldiers who fought on horseback, that is cavalry. Army means armed forces or soldiers. Then Prithviraj again formed a confederation, which means association or union, but this time Jaichand, instead of joining the battle from the side of Rajputs, is said to have helped Ghori. Ultimately, Prithviraj was captured and slain. Here, slain means kill a person in a violent way or murder. So, Prithviraj was captured and murdered. Although another Turkish ruler, Muhammad of Ghazni, Afghanistan, had also attacked in Gujarat region in search of wealth, the loss in the Battle of Terrain by the Rajputs is considered as the turning point of the destiny of India. Here, destiny means future or fate of India. Next, we are going to learn about Sultan Muhammad of Ghazni. Here we can see the picture of Sultan Muhammad of Ghazni. Now, let's see Sultan Muhammad of Ghazni in detail. Sultan Muhammad of Ghazni of Afghanistan ruled from 997 CE to 1030 CE. Muhammad of Ghazni attacked the subcontinent 17 times in search of wealth. He mainly attacked the temple towns such as Somnath, Nagarkot, Madura, Kanauj and others. He was of the belief, here he refers to Muhammad of Ghazni, was of the belief that all the wealth and gold of India was hidden in the temples, and he wanted the wealth to support his own kingdom and his army. Here, army means armed forces or soldiers. His repeated successful attacks show how Indian kings were very weak and indefensible. Sultan Muhammad was a patron of art and culture as well, and even in those days he established a library in his domain. Here, indefensible means not able to protect it against the attack. Patron means supporter. Culture means the ideas, customs and social behavior of a particular people or society. So, his repeated successful attacks show how Indians were very weak and indefensible, which means not able to protect it against the attack. Sultan Muhammad was a patron. Here patron means supporter of art and culture. So what is meant by culture? The ideas, customs and social behavior of a particular people or society as well. And even in those days he established a library in his domain. Do you know Sultan Muhammad of Ghazni was interested in knowing about cultures and people. He entrusted the job of penning. Here, penning means writing down the details of the people and culture of the subcontinent to a scholar named Al-Biruni. The writings of this scholar in a book called Taqi-i-Hind is a big source of information for the historians of today. Next, we are going to learn about administration of the kingdoms. The kings were thought to be gifted with divine qualities. They assumed titles like Maharajadiraja, Parameshwara, etc. So these terms meant Lord or God. Kingship was hereditary. So here, hereditary monarchy means it is a form of government and succession of power in which the throne passes from one member of a ruling family to another member of the same family. In other words, a series of rulers from the same family would constitute, which means form a dynasty. They enjoyed unlimited powers and were the commander of the forces. They took upon the role of judges in cases of disputes. Here, disputes means arguments or quarrels. They appointed council of ministers to help them in administration, and departments were allocated to them. Then officials were appointed to look after the law and order and collect revenue. Villages were the smallest unit of administration, and the headman looked after the administration of the village. In cities, there were local committees to look after the affairs of the cities. Here, affairs means events or incidents. Next, we are going to learn about revenue. The kings needed money to finance their administrative employees and maintain the army and to work for the welfare of the society. Money was also needed to fight wars and finance the construction of forts, palaces, and temples. Money collected was at times given away as rewards to selected people. Next, we are going to learn about revenue collection. The various ways of collecting money were as follows. So, there are various ways to collect money were as follows. The first one is farmers were required to give a part of their earnings in crop or its value to the king. Second one, other people like the traders, the artisans were also required to give a tax in kind or cash to the king. At times, the kings collected peculiar and vague taxes like tax for using of a ladder by the peasant, the use of cart, thatching of houses, and so on. Those who were unable to pay tax money had to pay back by working as labor for the king. Here, peculiar means unusual, vague means unclear, peasant means farmer, thatching means cover a roof or a building with straw or a similar material. So, at times, the kings collected peculiar, which means unusual, and vague, which means unclear taxes like tax for using of a ladder by the peasant, which means farmer, the use of cart, thatching of houses. So what is mean by thatching? Which means cover a roof or a building with straw or a similar material, and so on. Then those who are unable to pay tax money had to pay back by working as labor for the king. So, in this chapter, you have studied about the various kingdoms of the early medieval period. This period was of growth, development, and prosperity. Here, prosperity means wealth, but also had its share of conflict. Here, conflict means battle or war and divide. You will study about the later medieval period later in the book. I have enclosed the classwork instructions in the PDF. Kindly refer it. So now we have reached the end of this session. Thank you.